Hi there. Today we're going to work on vector graphic design and we're going to be inking a sketch. So as you can see, the assignment that we're going to be working on is where we take a pencil sketch and we use Inkscape to create a vector drawing using that pencil sketch. So here's some samples of that work in different styles. And today we're going to be working on this drawing. So the first thing that we need to do is actually get the drawing. So to do that, we are going to go up to this three dots in the top right corner. We're going to select Open in a new window. And we are going to then have this download button available to us. So we'll download this image and save it somewhere on our disk. And the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to open up the Start menu and type in Inkscape, and the program that we're looking for is this Inkscape with the black icon. So once we have that opened up, what we are going to do is drag and drop our image onto this Inkscape window. So we can do that by grabbing it from down here in the bottom bar of our browser. So I'm left clicking it and holding, moving over here to Inkscape, wait for it to pop up, and drop it in. Just click OK to the predefined settings. Alright, so now once we have this image into Inkscape, we are going to put it on its own layer so that it doesn't interfere with our drawing. We don't want it to be clickable, we want to be able to draw right on top of it. So to open up the layer menu, if we look up above here, this stack of layers that looks like a stack of papers next to the T icon is what we're looking for. So we open that up and we are going to first of all lock this layer. Okay, now it's not clickable or selectable anymore. And we're going to create a new layer on top by clicking the plus button here. I'm going to call this ink and make sure it's positioned above current and click add. Now this is the layer that we're going to actually be working in. So now we can close that layer menu for now. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to turn off the snap function. So snap causes points to stick together, and I want full freedom here. I don't want anything sticking together. So I'm going to disable snapping. And I'm also going to open up my fill and stroke menu by clicking on this paintbrush up here by the T icon. So I get my fill and stroke menu open at the side here. So the tool that we're going to be using the most for this is going to be the Bezier Curves tool. It's this tool that looks like a pen, a blue pen. Okay. And we're going to use this to create solid shapes for each part of our character. So there'll be a solid shape for the hair, a solid shape for the face and neck, a solid shape for the ears, solid shape for the dark part of the t-shirt and the light part, and for the arms. Okay, so you'll see what I mean in a minute. During this, we can hold the control button and use our mouse wheel to zoom in and out very quickly and easily. So I'm going to start with the hair, so I'm going to zoom in a little bit on the hair. And with the Bezier Curves tool, this blue pen, what I'm going to do is I'm only going to click on the areas where I want to lock the line. Okay, and this will make more sense once you see it done. And this shape will be behind the face, so I'm not going to be careful here about the area behind the face. In fact, I'm going to fill it in completely. So I'm going to make my clicks where I want to lock this line into place. So it's going to look pretty odd at first, but it will make more sense as we move along. So basically I'm clicking at the sharp points on the line. And then I'm going to come back here and join. So I've got a shape here and it's a closed shape. So I'm going to fill this closed shape in. And you're probably here at the RGB screen. I really prefer to use the wheel. So I'm going to click over here on wheel. I'm going to make this thing say green, and then I'm going to move down here to my alpha slider, and I'm going to make it pretty transparent. Okay, so now you can see that I have a solid shape here, but it doesn't really look like my hair. So the next thing I want to do is I'm going to sculpt this into position. And I do that using the path editor tool here. It's the second tool in your toolbar on the left. And we've got two functions that we can do here. We can grab the line itself, and by grabbing that I can curve that line into position. The second thing that I can do is I can click on a point and I'll get these handles appearing here. And I can actually adjust these handles to make my curve. Now, sometimes it's easier to use the handles, sometimes it's easier just to grab the line. I generally will start by grabbing the line, and I'll move to the handles if grabbing the line is just not working. So that looks pretty good. So now you can see why I just click these locking points, because I want to have some smooth curves here. So if I put too many points, what will happen is I will lose my smoothness of my line here. Now on the other hand, if I need more points, at any time I can double click on the line to add a new point. So if you decide that you need a little bit of extra detail, just double click somewhere on your line and you will get a new point to work with. So that looks pretty good to me. It doesn't need to be an exact duplicate. It just needs to be sort of in the spirit of the original design. So that's going to be our hair. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw the face and the neck on top of this hair. So that's why I didn't really need to worry about this line, because the face is actually going to go on top of that. So again, I'm going to use the same tool. I'm going to use my Bezier Curves tool. And again, I'm only clicking at the points where I feel that I need to lock the line into place. So at the end of this curve, and at the end of this curve, and up here at the hairline, and back to start. As you can see, this looks nothing like a face, but soon it will. We can move back to our Edit Nodes by Points tool, and I'm going to fill this in with a different color here. And I'm going to start shaping this to look the way that I intend. So I think that's looking pretty good. I'm going to kind of speed through this because we don't have a lot of time here. Now it seems as though I could use some more detail around the edges of the hairline. So I'm actually going to take the time to add a few more points in here. And I'm just going to double click some points. And what we're going to do is we're going to kind of work those into a little bit of detail here at the hairline. So you can use your judgment here. I think that will be plenty of detail just to give us the look that we're going for. I think I'll do the same over here. Add a few main points here. I'm just going to scatter these a little bit to give us the illusion of a little more detail than we really have here. There we go. Okay, so far so good. Hair and face. Now the next piece I'm going to do is the ears here. And the ears are going to be back in behind our face. So I'm going to go ahead and connect those ears into one big piece. I'll show you what I mean. Make this one pink, and we'll bend this into shape. Now we're not going to see the part that extends in behind the head, so we really don't have to worry about any detail there. So we're coming along well here. There we go. Now I'm going to use my select tool, and I'm going to take this and I'm going to lower it to the bottom, so that's in behind our head. Now I've got a few more pieces to create here. I'm going to create the arms, since they're at the bottom, the dark part of the t-shirt, and then the light part of the t-shirt. So since it needs to be on the bottom, I'm going to start with my arms here. I'm actually just going to create one big shape. That would be my arms. And we'll give that the same color as our neck here. And next I'm going to create the darker area of the shirt. I'm going to go ahead and join that right across, since it will be behind the white part of our shirt. So let's give that a dark blue color. And I'll curve that one into shape. And finally, we are going to create this white area here. Again with our Bezier Curves tool. And this will be behind the neck. So I don't think that I really need to worry too much about the top of this thing. I'll make this one white. And we'll curve it into its position. And there we go. Okay, let's zoom back out here. Alright, so we've got all of our main pieces. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to select all of this and move it over. Then I'm going to get them all in the right position. Okay, so I'll make sure that this face is at the top. Raise it right to the top. Make sure that this one is at the bottom. And the bottom. Our hair can be below our face. I think we're all good. Let's just have a look. Yeah. Okay, all good. So now we have everything at the right layers. Now we can actually start to add some color to this thing. Well, maybe we'll finish up the interior of the face first. Let's move this back into position. And now I'm going to draw in these eyebrows and maybe the eyes. So again, back to our Bezier Curves tool. I'm only hitting those locked in areas. I'm going to come back and shape this thing into the shape that I'm looking for. We can tweak those points as much as we need to. It's completely easily controlled. Yeah, I feel pretty good about that. Color that one in. And go for our second eyebrow here. I'm pretty happy with that. There's our eyebrows. Now we can move on to our eyes. So this one's a bit odd. What I'm actually going to do is a triangle. And then bend this thing into the shape that I'm looking for. Actually, it looks pretty good. And now I'm quite confident that this is a duplicate of this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this, and then I'm going to reflect it using this reflect button. And we'll see how closely that lines up. Not bad. Okay, I think I'm satisfied with that. So let's add in our circles, our pupils. So this time, in order to make a perfect circle, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold the control button while I draw my circle here. Okay, and that'll make a perfect circle. And that loop. And I will duplicate that. I'm going to hold Control and Shift to make that move right in the middle there. I'll make that one black. And finally, we've got a little small circle of light right here. So we're going to take a regular circle, we're going to make it white, and we're going to rotate that. So we just second click this, rotate it on the 45, and that's looking pretty good. Okay, so now let's take this entire eye here, and well, I guess we don't need to do that. Let's take the middle section of our eye, duplicate it, and move it over here. There we are. That's looking pretty good. Alright, we're almost ready for the line work here. But let's just maybe take a little time to color this. So again, I'm going to select this entire object, move it over. Now I'm going to start adding some colors here. So first of all, I'm going to take away all the transparency. This is a little bit, perhaps a little bit time consuming, but a necessary evil here. So let's make that solid, and I want to match that to the other eye color. So I'll click my little eyedropper here, and click on the other eye. This one's solid. And let's see what we've got here. Alright, so far so good. And now, again, everything solid. And then we will start setting our colors. Okay, now we've got to actually make some choices here. So I'm going to start out with a skin tone. We'll see what color we want to go with. something like this. And again, we will click the ears and we'll match that color. And let's even do the same to our arms. We'll match that color. Now we will choose our hair color. So, I don't know. Go with it. Ginger color. Maybe a brown. And we'll match that color to our eyebrows. Okay, so far so good. Alright, now let's, maybe we'll do that inner ear. So we've got a couple more solid shapes here. Let's click out our inner ear shape. Again, oddly enough, a triangle. That looks pretty good. Let's add a fill to this. Black and transparent. And now the second. There we go. Okay, it's looking pretty good. Alright, now let's add this little section under the chin here. So for this one, what we're going to do is make ourselves a little rectangle here. And we're going to bend this rectangle along the curve of the chin. We just want to create that nice little curve there. That's almost lines up with the bottom of the chin. Now the bottom part we're not going to have to worry too much about. We're going to take this over here. We're going to line it up along the bottom of the chin. And we are going to make a duplicate of the face. And shift select this little rectangle. And what we're going to choose is path intersection. And it's going to give me a piece that goes right here. So for this one, we're going to add a little bit of shading by making this filled. Okay, but we're going to add a linear gradient to that. By switching over here to our gradient tool, we can make that gradient transparency right there at the bottom. Okay, and now for this to look good, we're going to have to turn off the outline. So we go into stroke paint, we're just going to hit X. Okay, let's go back and try that again. There we go. So there we have some shading under the chin. Might even be a bit strong. Let's go back in here and adjust the opacity of this a little bit. Lighten that up. Yeah, I think I like that better. we've also got a couple of shadows down here. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to box in a rectangle here. We're going to develop that curve. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. And move this over here. We're going to duplicate our arms. And again, we're going to shift select that extra piece, and we're going to do path intersection. And that gives us this single piece. And then let's actually fill this and just eyedrop this color right here. And then we'll go and turn off our outlines. And we're going to lower this down until it goes underneath. There we are. Okay, starting to come together. So, join me for part 2, where we will finish the rest of the face and do the line work on this drawing. So let's save our work. And make sure that you are saving this in the thaw space. And we will finish this up next time. Thank you.